Hello creatives, we're doing a slightly different one today. A couple of people have asked me why I make these daily videos. So I've always been what I call a geyser creative, which is sometimes you can create like crazy, the words come out, it's terrific, and then sometimes there's just nothing. Those are the periods that I called blocked, and most of the artists that I knew were in that situation. You're either blocked or you're not. Apparently. And it was treated basically with superstition, like we don't know what causes it, we don't know what stops it. If I go to this coffee shop and I listen to this playlist, it'll fix it. Might as well be knocking on wood, right? Well, a few years ago, I had 2 very small strokes. I am extremely fortunate to have recovered as much as I have. But at the time, I lost all my words. I couldn't remember my phone number, my address. I couldn't remember the words for things. And I could not write at all. It was taken from me, and unlike my geyser periods of before, it wasn't coming back. We will get more into the issue of identity and how a crisis like this threatens that in a later video. The point is that I needed to write, but I couldn't, and I needed to figure out a way to do it in spite of all my circumstances. That's where this whole thing that I'm doing here, this Create It 22 program, was born. I started to study the psychology of habits, of how you build up from nothing. I looked at the way I had to recover when I broke my ankle once, all the physical therapy, the steps required, and I realized that the reason other systems to get unblocked weren't working for me was, well, 2 things. 1, they set the bar too high, and 2, there was no concept, at least not clearly laid out, of the inertia of creation. See, creative, though I know your body and brain fight with you a lot and don't seem like they're working very well, the fact is that to the best of their ability, they're trying to make everything as streamlined as possible so you use the least amount of resources for the most benefit. This is crucial, creative, because when you do something with regularity and you do not stop, your body and brain accept that activity as normal. It will start to streamline your entire system to get more results out of that with less effort. This is just how humans are wired. It's our whole survival system. The other aspect of this is, well, if you're starting from 0, you can't really get to 60 in 5 seconds. When I was a child, my family had this really old VW Bug. It was a manual transmission. It was not in great shape. The only way to get this car started was for my mom and me to get behind it and push, getting it rolling, and then my dad would pop the clutch into second and it would start, which sounds insane, but that's actually how it worked. That applies to this. You want to get up to speed, creative, especially if you've been blocked, as I have been horrifically blocked, but you cannot do it fast. What I realized, struggling through my health issues, struggling past that point of time where I couldn't remember the word for car keys, was that if I gave myself permission to start slowly, I had a much better chance of actually doing it regularly, thereby building up the habit, thanks to my basal ganglia and everything else, and actually continuing and getting up to speed. The 500 words a day, 250 words a day, those were too much for me. And trying to do that just left me depressed. Instead, I made myself a deal. 1 word a day. And it could be the wrong word. That was liberating. It can be the wrong word, the wrong sentence, the wrong scene, the wrong character. It can be completely wrong because your body and brain don't know that it's wrong. All they know is you are making a creative effort. All they know is that you're normal means making something every day, and that's what it starts to put resources into. I started with 1 word a day. Yeah, it was frustrating, it was hard, it was rarely the right word, but understanding how humans make habits changed everything. I built up to 5 words a day. I built up to 10 words a day, and before I knew it, I was doing a page a day, and I wasn't actually aiming for that. See, I kept my bar low. That meant I was willing to try to step over it. If I was having a really, really bad day, it was okay. I knew I could do 1 word, and if I did more, well, great. But if I could only do 1 word, still great. Since I came up with the system of make 1 thing every day, let it be tiny and let it be wrong, I have never had a day where I didn't write. Did it take time to get back up to quality? Absolutely. And I am incredibly grateful and fortunate that I can speak to you clearly and I have most of my words back. But the fact is that this was physical therapy in a sense that I was doing for my brain. When you break a bone, say like when you break an ankle like I did, you cannot go back to running the next day. You have to start slowly. Stretches, putting a little weight on it at a time, just tiny, tiny steps. And that is what builds you back up to running. It is the same principle. If you have been blocked, if you are struggling like I was, the answer is not to jump into a program that sets a bar so high that you can't do it. If you don't do it every day, your system will not think it's your normal and will not dedicate resources to it. So that's what this is about. That's why I do daily videos. That's why I try to encourage you to let go of that perfectionism, to let yourself make something tiny and terrible. Because if you're willing to do it every day, eventually you will make something big and good. Keep going, creative. There is hope for you. There was for me, and there is for you. It's not over. Sit down with me now. Trust the process. And together, let's make something new.